Denzel Ward ended up getting a massive contract extension. So let's talk about this right here. With Denzel Ward's contract extension going back to a 5-year, $100.5 million deal, 71.25 of that guaranteed here. And look, the Browns been big spenders here this offseason here. That has kind of reset the cornerback market here. Yep. And we had debated on why Denzel Ward, why did he get this type of contract extension based on, his overarching play through the last 3 seasons with the Cleveland Browns organization. Obviously for them, they're banking on maybe who he can be. But I also think now that this move has happened, we have to take a look at some other cornerbacks around the National Football League who maybe in a year or 2 years from now will reset the market here once again. And I think it can happen right away, Tommy. I think it can happen before 2023. And we have to take a look at Green Bay Packers cornerback Jaire Alexander. And I tell you what, he is the next guy. In 2023, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. So for the Green Bay Packers, this upcoming season, I think, is going to be very critical for them because obviously Aaron Rodgers came back. He signed a massive deal. Can they afford to sign Jaire to a massive contract extension? Because
can you afford not to do it?
I mean, you can't let him go. I mean, yes, you have Eric Stokes, who you drafted in round 1 in last year's NFL draft, but you still need that solidarity. You do have Rasul Douglas, who came back. So it's like, is it a gamble that they are willing to take? I mean, Green Bay's kind of showed the propensity to do that with trading away Devontae Adams. I think in a situation like this with Jaire, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. He will, in my opinion, reset the cornerback market. When you look at what he's done and his impact as a cornerback in today's National Football League that limits defenders from being able to play efficient football, he excels and he stands out in a massive way here. I think that he will reset this market here after this offseason. If it's not with Green Bay, it will be with another team that needs a legitimate cornerback one. Jaire is a name to keep an eye on.
I mean, someone's going to give this dude a bag. Might as well be Green Bay. Like, that's a guy you can't walk out that door, let Lave walk out the door. They've seen too many other guys do this. And quite frankly, like we go back to Devontae Adams, they put themselves in that situation by not negotiating a contract the year prior. The Browns got ahead of this. They got into it before the contract year started. Then because they picked up that 5th-year option, which bought them a little bit extra time. With someone like Jaire Alexander, who's still 25, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, top 5 probably in my opinion at that point, you can't let him go out the door for anything else. Like, you have to maintain some type of continuity on this team. You've got Rodgers, which as long as you have Rodgers on your team, you're in a championship window. So you have to make sure that defense can keep up and hold up their end of the bargain. Cornerback is one of the most important positions in the NFL. This is a passing game. We all know this. We talked about this before when we were kind of looking, okay, what's the running back market looking like now after we see all this emphasis on the wide receivers? None of that's changing. Right now, it's can you get pressure on a quarterback? And if you're an offense, can you get the ball to receiver? The only way to stop that is that point comes to the cornerback, because a good cornerback playing good secondary benefits everyone else. The same thing, a good defensive line helps out the secondary. Same thing with the good cornerbacks. You can see they call them all these times like, coverage sacks, where it's not necessarily the pressure got to them, but it was because they were able to lock down those top targets enough time for the defensive lineman to finally get there and get after the quarterback. Jaire Alexander, not only is he a playmaker, but he's great at helping kind of just break up those timing routes. And at that point, the pressure from the defense can then get to the quarterback. So I think Jaire Alexander, he impacts the game so many ways. He's going to get a similar contract to this. No question about it. Could he break it? Yeah, I think he could.
He should. I mean,
I think he should. It's also that little bit of a respect thing to where, hey, look, we're going to give you the highest contract because we think you have earned it. It's a little bit of a slap in the face where you see a guy like, Denzel Ward, for as good as he is, 6th lowest completion percentage when targeted since he came into the league in 2018 among cornerbacks with 100+ targets. Like, the guy is good, right? Jaire Alexander is just as good as Denzel Ward. He's also super young. So you can't sit here and watch someone else get paid and then offer your own guy a lower contract. Like, there's a time to take the hometown discount. Right now is not that time. Your second contract is when you get paid in the NFL. Jaire Alexander is about to get some massive money, and the Cleveland Browns, hey, you guys have facilitated this big move to happen. And honestly, he deserves it.
People hate the Browns, like what they've done with Deshaun Watson's contract, and now this one. I mean, they've spent over $300 million in guaranteed money.
$340.5 million in guaranteed money this
What an offseason for them. So there is, obviously, we talked about Jaire Alexander. There's another name, possibly. I know he's been linked this offseason to potential trade rumors, but New York Giants cornerback James Bradberry. I'm not sure what will happen. I think we'll have to see if there's any kind of trade that happens, or let's say we're talking right now. Let's say a trade has already happened, and we're just not aware of it at this point in time. That's something to keep an eye on. I know that there were a lot of rumors linked to some draft day trades, and obviously when this video airs and drops on YouTube as a clip, a couple weeks down the road, that circumstance may have changed entirely. But I think it's worth noting, bringing up James Bradberry, probably the next cornerback also in line. Out of this list, there's not many guys. I mean, really it was Denzel Ward, Jaire Alexander, and James Bradberry. But, if we want to look ahead to 2024, who could potentially reset it again? Or heck, it could even happen this year. Dallas Cowboys cornerback Trayvon Diggs. I mean, for him having that 11 interception season, I know everyone's going to talk about, he gave up over 1,000 yards. He plays in a hyper-aggressive defensive scheme that is predicated off of pressure, man coverage. And sometimes you're going to get beat, but you know what? You're going to also guarantee with Trayvon Diggs, you're going to get the ball back. He's going to get takeaways throughout the season. That's going to help the offense out. So,
and look, Diggs is going to learn too. Like he learned how to be hyper aggressive just based off his instincts. Like he is still raw in the NFL sense. Like he came in and was incredible, but he is going to learn when he can try to be hyper aggressive like he is and kind of ball hawk, and when to just, let's just bat the ball away, or let's just try to make that simple play. He'll learn when to know when to make the simple play or when to go after that game-breaking turnover. And that's what's going to make him on the trajectory to be one of the top corners in the NFL. Put him right up there with the Jalen Ramseys, with the Tre'Davious Whites, Jaire Alexanders, Denzel Wards. Like, those are the type of moves that those guys make where they're not giving up the massive game-breaking plays, but everyone does to a certain extent. Like, the amount of talent at the wide receiver position, the pressure these guys are put on an island, like they're not rotating a lot of coverage over these ways. Like they're trusting them to take on that number one while we rotate our safeties over to try to take over these other guys. Like that is how trusted these cornerbacks are, why they're given so much money. Everyone gets beat to a certain point. So like it was good to see Diggs at least know, like, hey, look, I'm going to get beat every once in a while, but I'm going to play my style of football. And that's all you can ask for. Don't change who you are. And Diggs, as we know, like he is going to be one of the best corners in the NFL for probably quite some time.
Well, hey, if Dallas doesn't pay him, we could end up seeing him try to go to Buffalo to play with his brother. I know that's something that Dave talked about wanting to do, but we'll see. Like, who will reset the cornerback market next after Denzel Ward's massive contract extension by the Cleveland Browns in April before the NFL draft? Let us know in the comment section down below. Make sure you like this video as well and drop a comment and interact with us for the algorithm. We appreciate everyone for tuning in here.